Alright, I know I'm just ranting to ski mask, so let me fucking cage this with a statement here. So if you're in the AK world or you're trying to get into AKs, this is a video for you. I've been watching a lot of M26 Lemon Grenade. If you don't know who that is, he's a middle-aged dad, I guess, prior Marine Corps dude who is really into AKs, builds AKs, makes some good videos. He's kind of an asshole, but his content's pretty good. He knows what he's talking about. So I want to talk about a little bit about the AK market and why it's kind of a racket, and why you shouldn't buy an AK if you want to save money in the AK market. That's not happening. You're not saving money buying an AK. They're too expensive. So I'm gonna read off some numbers here I wrote down because I'm retarded. I'm not gonna memorize all of these. So for example, a baseline Polish AKM out of the box, just standard furniture, 30 round magazine, it's going to cost you about $1,050 to $1,200. Let's do a Yugo one, Yugo M90 5.56, $1,200 if you can find it in stock. They're probably more expensive depending where you find them. I'm looking at Arms of America for all these prices. WBP Jack, another random just AKM Polish, pretty okay gun, $1,200. And then I'm going to use an FB Radom barrel rifle, Polish standard WZ96, basically. They're in stock on Arms America right now. $1,500 fucking dollars for a bare bones AK. Like no optics, no optic rail, none of that shit. Just a straight up irons AK. $1,500, $1,200 to $1,500. Now there's some guns you can get for a lower price, like some PSA stuff. Varies between $900 to about $1,300, depending on what you get. And then their GF3s, I think, are also like $800 you get them on sale or something like that. So the price right now on the AK market is wild. I remember when you could buy like a Wasser 10 for like $600, like $450 on sale in some places. But nowadays, no, not happening. So I think the big thing that M26 Lemon Grenade is really talked about is a lot of the commodification of the AK market and also how hype beast it is. There's a couple of people like Clayco 47, Grantham, let's see, Nine Holes Reviews, GBRS, and some other like hype beast gun tuber influencers. Clayco's a little different. I'd put him in like a different category than the other ones I talked about. But a standard rail for an AK like this, I bought this off Kyber Customs. This was like $110. And this is a blend, and it also is a piece of shit. It doesn't fit my gun at all. But $110 for a piece of, I think this is melanite actually, but aluminum. Most of these rails are aluminum. The SAG chassis are like $700 for a chassis that is debatable on if it holds zero or not. The forward rail that I think Grantham's group is making is like $350 for just a rail component on an AK. Like something like this, you know? So you got, if you're not on an AK so much, this is your foregrip, your top and bottom, your upper hand guard, lower hand guard, a rail that just encompasses the front. $300, okay? $300 for a forward rail is insane. So if you want to mount anything onto your guns, like a lamb, flashlight, foregrip, whatever, if you want to buy like some of the Hypebeast products, you're looking at $300+ for a good rail. And I'm going to talk about this. $300 is pretty close to an entire parts kit for an AK. This bag of internals from a Romanian 1963 kit, $550. So if you're spending $300 on some rails, you might as well just save up the rest and go buy a parts kit. You're losing money by essentially buying all this hypebeast shit. The other thing I want to talk about is that the price to performance of a lot of these guns people are buying or trying to get you to buy, like an M90 or a fucking WBP Jack or any Arsenal secondhand purchase guns like the 104 FRs, 106 FRs, 107 FRs, not worth it. You're going to spend $2,000 to $3,000 and you're not going to get a nice gun. Like, these guns are not, AKs aren't nice. AKs are not made to be nice guns. There are some boutique shops that make nice guns, like Krebs Customs, Meridian Defense, arguably Rifle Dynamics, if you want to put them in there. I think Rifle Dynamics is just a hype beast company. But Krebs, Meridian Defense, they make nice AKs. Are they worth the money you're going to spend? No, but they're nice guns. So, for example, $1,500 for a barrel can get you a Springfield Hellion. Like, this came with the optic. I get a whole Springfield Hellion bullpup for about $1,500. I got this for $1,650 with tax included. So at $1,500, I got a whole gun that is optic ready, M-lock foregrip, and with a muzzle brake. Like, $1,500 is a lot of clams for a lot of people, a lot of bones. And then M26 also mentions too, when it comes to the quality of some of these parts, these WBP parts, they're pretty poor quality. They're not the highest, level of production, like the Russian kits used to be. All this gun I built myself. These are WBP internals. Put this together in my garage. These WBP guns are using, I assume, contract overrun or reject parts from the military guns. Not a single one of my WBP kits I've bought and used, I've built 6 of them so far, has ever had like a perfect go. Every part has either had to be manually filed, thrown out, or they're just out of spec. Like, I can't even use them. Whereas my Romanian kits that I buy for $400, all of them are perfectly fine. They're all perfectly fine. Kits made in 1972 are perfectly fine. Throw them on directly myself. So the quality of the guns you're going to be buying in the AK market nowadays is not succinct. It's not to what you would have gotten, say, 10 years ago in 2015, right? So you're going to go spend, $900 to $1,500, and you're going to get an AK that either can or cannot shoot. Because some of these guns come in and they're 10 MOA. The rivets are falling apart. They're not spec components, so you can't fix it yourself. The barrel threading is dog shit, so you can't suppress them because they don't do concentric threading. Let's see, other components are like wildly out of spec, like dust covers on PSA AKs, firing pins breaking, blah, blah, blah. So whatever you're buying is not going to be worth it. And then the hype beasts like Rant, GBRS, Administrative Results, and like Micah Mayfield, right, where this dudes do all this compilation of getting their videos like, oh, I'm a super cool operator, blah, blah, blah. Those guns are all custom made by either like Rifle Dynamics, Krebs Custom, well, not even Krebs, CW Gun Works, or other builders who build these guns to a higher standard and take more care because they know they're going to be on YouTube. Your gun is not going to be like that. Unless you want to spend $3,000 and go send your gun to Marco at CW, you're not going to get a gun like Rant, though. It's also going to weigh like 15 pounds. All this shit you're strapping on your AK is making it ridiculously heavy. Oh, I want a lamb on my AK. I want a flashlight on my AK. I want this foregrip on my AK. Blah, 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 blah. It's adding more weight, and it's going to make the gun basically unusable. Like, you need to be able to, an AK's whole purpose is for it to be light, handy, and relatively accurate out to 300 meters. And everything you do to mimic your favorite gun tuber is getting rid of that whole idea of the AKM or the AK-74. So M26 doesn't really touch on it too much. He does have a couple videos talking about like what's a good gun to potentially buy, blah, 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 like what's the market looking like, what's the cost of all these things. My whole point I'm trying to get at here is that buying AKs is not a thing. There is no market anymore for a good all-around affordable AK except the Wasser 10. The Wasser 10 is still the best AK to buy. It's kind of shitty. It looks like shit. The surface finish is pretty poor. Sometimes the front sight blocks are canted. Sometimes the gas blocks are canted. Sometimes the rear sight blocks are canted. But you're not paying $1,500 for it. I've seen them go for about $700 used and sometimes up to $900 used. But a Romanian Wasser 10 AKM is probably the only AK you should buy in 7.62. 5.56, I mean, shit, dude, I would just buy a PSA AK for $1,000 and hope to God you got lucky. Because $1,500 for a fucking barrel is nuts. So, and the other thing, two people I want to talk about is that say you do buy an AK, all the shit's candy, all the shit's fucked up, nothing's good on it, the surface is bad, it's rusting. You can't warranty these things. Like with a Washer 10, you can at least send it back to Century and they just give you a new one and be like, oops, our bad. You get a barrel that's like fucked up or a WPB jack that's fucked up. If Arms America doesn't have an extra one in stock, they got to rip that whole fucking gun apart and rebuild it. And I don't know if Arms America will even do that. Like they're nice, they're a good company, but if that was me and I was an importer and I imported an AK and the front sight block was canted and someone called me, I would either just be like, I'll refund you your money or too bad. So there's no warranty for these fucking things. Either you have to fix it yourself and go buy a couple $1,000 in tooling to know how to do it, or you just deal with your canted front sight block. So that's a lot of things people don't talk about is, yeah, you spend $1,500, you get this gun, but the process of making it actually usable to a modern standard right now in the AK market is exponential. You're better just buying an AR and using an AR. But then the argument always is, oh, well, AKs are cooler. They're cooler. Okay, they're cooler, I get it. Okay, if you want to get a cool AK, go spend $2,000 and go to CW or Appalachia Gunworks or fucking Middletown Firearms and go get custom built AK. Start from ground zero. Go get a parts kit. Go have a professional gunsmith build it. So you have your one cool AK. Don't go buy a WBP jack and then bitch and moan that, it's not accurate. You're buying like a runoff gun from a military manufacturer. You're not getting a custom made super Gucci gun. If you want that, go spend the money. But that's not the average AK. You're not going to get a Garand Thumb buttery smooth super tactical AK for $1,500 anymore. It's not a thing. Back 10 years ago, yeah, you could pick up a 106 FR for like $600 and just go pimp that shit out with Zenego for less than $1,000. But now, no, that's not possible. So this is my little rant on that about the modern AK market. My final point would just be, if you're trying to get into AKs and you want something that's in 5.56, just buy a PSA AK. Just buy one of those. Stop listening to the purists. Stop listening to clone builders. Just get a PSA 101. If it doesn't work, just warranty it. Ask them for some extra firing pins. Learn how to replace a firing pin on an AK bolt, and just use that. If you want a 7.62 go buy a Wasser 10. It's gonna look like shit, but it's gonna shoot fine. It has a rail on it, so you can throw an optic mount on it, and you're still below roughly about $1,100 for your optics ready. If you want something a little bit more beefy, maybe get an M90. It's also M90 and 5.56, but right now the AK market is not good. And no matter what, do not spend $2 to $3 grand on some Arsenal SGL 31, SGL 20. They're not worth it. It's not worth the money. You're getting ripped off. There's no AK in the world that is worth $2,000 to $3,000 from a fucking military arsenal. It's not worth it. There's no gun. The quality is not there. The parts and components are not there. It's just not worth the money. Go buy a PSA AK. Like most people are not shooting 10,000 rounds a year, maybe even 10,000 rounds in the life of the firearm. Don't spend money thinking you're going to do that. Your PSA AK is going to be good enough if you want to shoot trash. So that's my final part on that one. That's what I'll leave it at. If you watch this, thanks for listening to my rant and listening to some retard in his garage. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye.